Now they begging for a fight. Now they want to fight me now. I don't sell, so there's no need for you to even mention my name no more. Don't say Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
But in the same token, Jaron Ennis had a yeah.
Cause he a hater.
Nah, you think so? You think he had something to do with it?
Hater. Cause he a
Jaron Boots Ennis has taken several shots at Crawford, confidently claiming he'd knock him out during a recent live stream. Even after Crawford's victory over Canelo, Ennis stayed unimpressed, repeating in interviews that he doesn't see Crawford as one of the all-time greats. When talking about true legends, he mentioned names like Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather,
when asked if Crawford should now be considered one of the greatest fighters of all time, Boots has said that in his opinion, he doesn't see Crawford in that light. He explained that when he talks about greatness,
his comments have
he thinks
led
about
many
guys
in the
like
boxing
Roy
world
Jones
to label him a hater, while others see it as the spark for a potential showdown between the two.
Lied or kept to the net and make it seem like I had an opportunity to fight you and I didn't. I never did. You know what I'm saying? And then that one time that I did, we said they called and we said we never heard nothing else back about it. So I mean, I respect it though. I mean, get your money. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. But don't be capping on.
Even after Crawford's massive win over Canelo,
even when
kept his
Crawford had one of the
reaction
biggest
cool
wins
and
of his
reserved.
career against,
He initially called it a great win, but later followed up with a jab of his own, saying the fight was so dull, he actually fell asleep watching it.
Though I wanted to falling asleep. I'm like, yo, I can't stay up no longer. I just wanted to.
To many fans, his comments sounded dismissive, but that's exactly the image Ennis wants to project. He's not interested in flattering Crawford. He wants to be seen as the hungry challenger who refuses to buy into the hype. Ennis wants the world to know he doesn't view Crawford as untouchable.
Man, Boots had a chance to fight me. Virgil Ortiz had an opportunity to fight me, but now everybody, I fight Terence, or I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, okay, cool. When y'all had y'all opportunity, y'all went elsewhere. But now that y'all see I'm the ticket, now y'all like, oh yeah, we want to fight Terence Crawford. We want Terence Crawford.
What makes it even more interesting is that Crawford has already ruled out fighting Ennis. After his win over Canelo, he was asked about facing Boots at 154, and he clearly said no. He wasn't moving down and wouldn't take that fight. That response gave Ennis more ammunition, letting him frame Crawford as someone dodging the younger competition. Crawford may be 42-0, but Ennis is also undefeated and quickly building his own legacy. So when the veteran refuses to face the next generation, it's easy for Ennis to spin it as proof that Crawford's avoiding him.
Fight that makes a whole lot of sense, and the fight that stylistically would be, oh my goodness, is a fight between Terence Crawford and Jaron Boots Ennis.
I don't think I think that's going backwards for Terence.
To that point, Jaron doesn't have the kind of accolades. He doesn't sell to the mass and all these. So this fight was perfect timing for both these guys.
Amid all the back and forth, promoter Eddie Hearn jumped into the mix, calling Ennis the new Crawford and expressing his desire to pit them against each other to settle the debate. Hearn even acknowledged that it would take a massive payday to lure Crawford into the ring, knowing how risky the fight would be. That's exactly the point Ennis has been making. If Crawford truly believes he's the best, then facing him shouldn't be something to fear.
They didn't see him go to another level yet. He just went to a little bit. He got so much more in his bag, man.
Can you explain what you mean by another level?
Another level when somebody gonna give him a real hard fight.
Yeah.
He made that fight look easy.
He definitely did.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm talking about. You want to see him into a real tough fight, then you're going to see something else come out of him.
Okay, since you're speaking on tough fights, I did an interview with Eddie Hearn.
Hearn's remarks highlight what many observers already think. Crawford's biggest victory came against an aging Canelo who was past his prime, making the matchup look more strategic than challenging. In contrast, Hearn says Ennis is the real test. Young, explosive, and quick on his feet. He's not slowing down, and he's not flat-footed. According to Hearn, Crawford wouldn't be able to dance around the ring for 12 rounds and edge out a decision. Ennis would close the distance, cut off the ring, and stop him, and Hearn fully believes that outcome.
Like watching now.
Terence Crawford, one of my favorites to watch now. I love Terence Crawford, and I like to watch NUA too. NUA can fight. And you know who else I like to watch though? I like to watch Boots.
Oh, okay.
Boots, yeah.
I love watching Boots. Boots got game. People don't understand Boots got game. know what I'm saying? Every now and then he mess on defense a little bit, but Boots got game.
Boots versus Terence Crawford.
Now, Boots hasn't proven himself enough to tell me for me to say that he gonna beat Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford still.
Crawford's coach, Bernie Davis, also entered the debate, firing back at Ennis by saying he's still riding with training wheels. Davis pointed out that despite having over 30 fights, Ennis hasn't faced any truly elite opponents, arguing that his recent matchups have been far from top tier. He challenged Boots to prove himself against real competition instead of padding his record with easier wins. While his comments were meant to defend Crawford's legacy, they sparked another discussion, because when Crawford was 28, his career path looked almost the same.
Identical.
Crawford says, you know, show me the money. And I'm like, well, Crawford, you're the A side. You're supposed to show Boots Ennis the money. That's the funny part about it. You keep telling Ennis to go get the money. You go get the money. You're the A side. Ain't that how this works? In boxing, the A side is the one doing.
Crawford also faced fighters who were past their prime, just like Ennis. When he fought Ricky Burns, Ray Beltran, Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, and Brady's Prescott, none of them were at their best. He didn't actually get a major name on his record until Victor Postal, and by then, he was already 29. So when Crawford's team says Ennis hasn't faced real competition, it sounds a bit ironic. And that's exactly why Boots keeps responding with such confidence.
A fight, or who's a dance partner that makes Boots a star?
Right now, I don't even know anybody, for real, you know, and anybody that got a big name.
Got you. Got you. But there's no exact guy that you think about? Because I don't want to ask you, hey, this guy, that guy. I know you get those questions a lot. So if you had to say, hey, this is the guy I think, you know, we would have a big fight, who would it be? Because it doesn't seem like the Crawford fight would happen. So what's that dance partner for you, Boots?
But Boots isn't just reacting to what Crawford's team says about him. He's setting his own narrative. By leaving Crawford off his list of all-time greats, he's making a clear distinction between being a strong champion and being truly legendary. When he mentions names like Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, and Sugar Ray Leonard, he's pointing to the kind of greatness he respects. Fighters who showed unmatched skill, dominance, and took on opponents in their prime. In his view, Crawford doesn't fit that mold, and wins over older opponents like Canelo or Madrimov aren't enough to change that.
Ever since they sparred over a decade ago, no one's been a bigger Terence Crawford believer than Tim Bradley.
Right.
And so Tim still picks Terence to beat Boots, still picks Terence to beat Canelo, but as he continues to assess things, and this is how I felt for a while, is that it's a little similar, not quite all the way the same, but it's a little similar.
Promoters like Eddie Hearn are already focused on the money side of things. Crawford has major financial support from Turki Alashik, who's invested millions into boosting his image. But putting him in the ring with Boots could be risky. If Crawford loses, that whole carefully built reputation could take a hit. That's why Hearn isn't sure Turki would even greenlight the fight in the first place.
Against Jaron Ennis, for me, he's the best fight in American boxing. But it needs to be a payday for Crawford that would get him interested, because Crawford knows how good Boots is. And I'm not saying that Crawford thinks he's going to lose to Boots, but he knows.
He compared Crawford's fight with Canelo to polishing an old statue. It looked shiny from the outside, but it was mostly for show. Boots, on the other hand, is a real threat, and it would take a massive payday just to get Crawford to consider stepping in with him. That alone says a lot about how people inside the sport view Ennis. They know he's dangerous, they know he has the skills to beat Crawford, and they realize that fight could completely shift the balance of boxing in the U.S.
Both of them knocked out David Evanesian while David Evanesian was swinging.
But look, the thing about Boots is he's staying in there. Oh, no. Taking it up the gears. Nice.
That's what you do. They both were willing to get hit to hit.
Ennis has made it clear that he wants to be the next big star, and Crawford is the challenge he's set his sights on. Even though Crawford shows no interest in the fight, Boots keeps bringing him up to keep the pressure on. By saying he'd knock Crawford out and repeating that he's not impressed, he keeps his name in the spotlight. Meanwhile, Crawford's unwillingness to take him seriously makes it seem like he's avoiding the fight. Fans notice that it's the young, undefeated fighter calling out the older champion, while the champion keeps saying no.
Y'all gonna have to see Boots. And we can't wait. I can't wait.
Why you rubbing your stomach,
and I'm gonna be right there.
You get to 154, you ain't coming the fuck back down.
That paper.
He might do something strange for a piece of change that make me come back down.
He might say, man, remember when you was on the show and you was talking that shit and I said that I was gonna beat your ass and I want to fight you? What you doing up there? And I'm gonna be like, here.
The criticism from Crawford's camp doesn't change the reality that Andis's record looks a lot like Crawford's did at the same stage of his career. They can say he still has the training wheels on, but so did Crawford back then. The difference is, Crawford got the perfect promotional push, with matchmakers giving him opponents who looked dangerous on paper but were already past their prime. Andis hasn't had that kind of backing yet, but his talent and record are just as strong. That's why Hearn is promoting him as the next Crawford. He sees the same rise happening again, only this time, Boots has even more natural ability and might go further than Crawford ever did.
And so people don't understand. He can box and he's smart.
Yes.
He don't waste no punches, man.
So he won't waste that energy.
And he really smart, man, when it comes to that boxing game. But it was me and I'm training him.
Yeah.
I would have him frustrating Canelo. What I would do with him.
After the Canelo fight, it's become much easier for Andis to step into the challenger's role, especially with everyone questioning whether Crawford had truly secured his legacy. Now, facing Crawford could be the biggest money fight available. And if Boots manages to land that fight and win, he would, in a sense, take over everything Crawford has built. That's why he keeps calling him out. It's the first step toward making that happen.
Jaron Boots Ennis or Terence Bud Crawford. Jaron's shots seem to be more thumping and more like a whip where they come out kind of wider. Jaron also twists his whole body behind each shot, gets a lot of leverage. Terence Bud Crawford's shots seem to be shorter and he gets more of that shoulder snap.
Boots has been labeled a hater for his comments about Terence Crawford's win over Canelo. Trainer Brian Norman Sr. didn't hold back, saying the criticism was unfair. They asked the man a simple question: what did you think of the fight? Instead of giving Crawford his props, he downplayed it. Norman told Mill City Boxing, "You said Canelo was going to beat him, and now you can't admit you were wrong. That's hating, plain and simple." Norman made it clear that Boots' refusal to give Crawford credit after picking Canelo showed personal bias more than honest analysis.
They're going back down to 154 and face Jaron Ennis, the guy who prepared Canelo Alvarez for this fight.
No. I ain't going down 154.
Ennis's two-word response, "It's boxing," has been played over and over because of how cold it sounded. While most fighters and trainers called Crawford's win historic, Ennis's blunt reaction came off as jealousy to many. Norman argued that giving Crawford credit wouldn't have taken anything away from Boots, but instead, he kept it short and dismissive. From Norman's point of view, that wasn't honesty, it was hate. Still, Andis handled it his own way. If he didn't find the fight impressive, he wasn't going to pretend otherwise.
They know so.
What we know?
Y'all know everything.
I don't know nothing. I'm trying to find out what I know. Enlighten me.
What you mean enlighten me? You fought Devin Easy and you could have fought me.
You jumped up out of my sanction body to go fight in the IBF. So what I know?
What you mean?
What you mean? What I mean? Would you rank that in the WBA or not?
Yo, it don't even matter. Yo,
all right, catch up, little homie. Catch up then. If it don't matter, catch up.
Yo,
Crawford fought off the back foot, used constant movement, and took control in the later rounds as Canelo started to fade. He never stood toe-to-toe, instead circling, jabbing, and picking his moments carefully. That style doesn't appeal to Andis, who sees it more like Shakur Stevenson's approach: safe, controlled, but lacking excitement or knockout moments. To him, that kind of performance doesn't deserve over-the-top praise. So when people like Norman say he should have shown more respect, Boots simply disagrees.
Crawford done been in a big stage against big fighters so many times. And also, with age, he didn't beat up his body, so his age is actually good. He got the grown man strength. He not just grown man strength, but he built on top of that. Like, look at him at 135. He was a little scrawny dude. He wasn't a big dude. Now look at him. He's ripped up everything. He's strong. So I feel like he got everything.
Crawford's team has made it clear they're not interested in a fight with Boots or anyone else right now. When asked after the Canelo win about future plans, trainer Brian "Bomac" McIntyre said, "No, we're not doing that fight. No, we're not vacating the belts. We're just going to take a break, then get back in the gym and do our thing." That was his response when pressed about David Benavidez and Jaron Ennis. In short, Crawford isn't heading in their direction anytime soon. He and his team want rest first and to return on their own schedule.
To the table. He got our leftovers. Why would Bud want to go backwards? Why would want to go backwards? Bud looking for bigger and better fights. So where he can etch his name in the concrete forever. I don't know, because I really don't look at none of the welterweights since we did clear the division out.
That leaves Ennis chasing a fight that Crawford's side has already ruled out. Crawford himself said, "No, I won't fight Jaron Ennis. I'm not going down to 154, making it clear Boots isn't part of the plan." So when Ennis says things like, "It's boxing," he's just being real, sharing his honest opinion while knowing Crawford has no interest in facing him. From his perspective, there's no reason to act like a fan of someone who's openly said he won't give him a shot.
A lot of people like boost this, boost that, boost this. You know, fighting Boots is a lose-lose situation. You know, I win, they're gonna say, "Oh well, he was young, he wasn't ready." You know, he was talented, he was skillful, but you got the experience over him. You got, you know, so much.
The names being linked to Crawford now show just how far apart he and Ennis really are. David Benavidez has been mentioned as a possible opponent since he's been active at super middleweight and light heavyweight, but Bomac quickly dismissed that idea. Janabek Alan-Cannully has also called Crawford out, tweeting that if Crawford agreed to fight him at 160, it would be an exciting matchup fans wouldn't want to miss. A move to middleweight could set Crawford up for title fights against Alan-Cannully, Arislandi Lara, or Carlos Adams. Another clear sign he's heading in a completely different direction than Boots.
I'm tired of answering questions about it. He already said millions of times that he not fighting me or looking my way, so I'm just tired of answering no questions, you know, and if a fight happened, it happened. You know, I wanted it to happen, but if not.
Crawford's current position is already historic. He's the first male fighter to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes during the 4-belt era. That achievement alone secures his legacy, meaning every move he makes now is about adding to his story, not proving himself against up-and-comers. His team has even said retirement is an option, along with the possibility of moving up again to pursue a 4th undisputed title.
For Terence Bud Crawford.
For a fight, yes. You know, just because I know where his skill level's at. And it's about skill in there. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about who's the biggest puncher. Sometimes it's about just, you know, having the skill and the ring generalship in there. So I do think he's ready to step in there with the best of the best. It's just a...
For Crawford's team, someone like Jaron Boots Ennis isn't even part of the discussion. When trainer Brian Bomac McIntyre was asked about a possible fight with Chris Eubank Jr., he said the decision is ultimately Crawford's, but made it clear he wasn't interested. Terence can do whatever he wants next, but I don't want to see that fight. It's not happening, he said. His comments showed that Crawford's camp isn't focused on welterweights anymore, especially not younger fighters like Ennis. Their attention is on bigger names, higher paydays, or possibly wrapping up Crawford's career altogether.
It's not fair, but that's the game, bro. Because trust me, this game is more business than sport.
So what do you do? If you're Boots, what do you do to get those?
You look to maximize your money and fight somebody that's willing to step in the ring with you. Maximize what you get. Don't worry about what the other guys get, just to get active. He's getting forgotten.
That puts Boots in a tough position, with words being his only way to get Crawford's attention, making his comments stand out even more. Trainer Brian Norman Sr. sees Ennis's attitude as pure hate, arguing that instead of giving Crawford credit for beating Canelo, he dismissed it completely. But from Ennis's point of view, there's no reason to praise someone who refuses to fight him. He's already said Crawford isn't among the all-time greats, and when asked about the Canelo win, his only response was, "It's boxing." To him, that's just honesty, not hate. Norman Sr., however, doesn't buy that, insisting, clearly, he hates him. What do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.